Welcome to Audio Branding, the hidden gem of marketing. Sound plays a more important role in human behavior and our decision-making than you may realize. In this podcast, I'll help you understand the art and science of sound so you can better influence others in business and your life. I'm your host, Jodi Krangle. Let's delve a little deeper. Out of curiosity, why do you think advertisers have such a hard time with sound? I mean, this is one of those things that the reason I have my podcast exactly is because, as you've already said, people spend a whole lot of time on the video aspects of what they're doing and so little of it on the audio aspects. I just, out of curiosity, even philosophically, why do you think that is?
I think they just don't know. I think it's like, for me, when I saw the TED Talk that Stephen Keller did.
Yes.
Which was
he's been on this podcast twice now.
Oh,
yes.
He's my hero.
He blew my mind. Oh yeah, regularly.
But nobody knows. Like, I've been doing this forever. Like, I've been writing. I was writing songs with kids, and I would see, go into the schools, and I'd see what would happen to these kids when we, 35 of us got together and wrote a song together. And then I took it and I started doing it as a team building thing. And I would come in, all these grumpy people would come in that were like, "Why are we writing a song? We shouldn't have to do this," and stuff. And then this transformation would occur as we started to write something, that was about that, and they're all going out singing it. And then when people would hear the results of these songs and they would be, they would do that. I think people just don't understand the science of, brain. Sound reaches the brain. Is it 100 up to 100 times faster than visuals? Yeah. They don't even understand that when they cry, when they watch a movie, that if there was no soundtrack, that wouldn't happen. If the fin came out of the water and there was no do 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 do, like the fin doesn't even. We haven't even seen the fin yet, and you're already on the edge of your seat because of the sound. So
what's coming.
It's invisible, and people blow it off. They just don't know. They have no idea of the value.
Yeah, I always liken it to the visuals are the information and the audio is the heart.
Yes, and the emotion, the emotion, because sometimes it's on the edge of your seat and you're scared, and horror shows and you can create any emotion.
Yeah.
Right? You can't do that with a two-dimensional thing. It has, and you see all these. That's why it kills me that all these realtors and people are like, what do? Buy a bigger bus ad?
Yeah.
And they're so expensive.
Yes,
right?
So true.
Yeah.
And you can accomplish so much with just a little bit of sound, as we've already discussed, for the whole time we've been here. Pretty much. Yeah, it has such a big impact. And it's really unfortunate that a lot of people do not pay it the attention that it's due, which is why I like to talk about it. And I'm sure why you're doing SongBrand, among other things, among other reasons. So I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about when it comes to this, and we're not going to solve all the issues, unfortunately. I wish we could. But then we get into AI.
Yeah.
So, are you concerned with what AI is doing to music? Are you seeing it as a threat? Can it be used to help create music? Where do you see this going in the future?
Well, I'm kind of the wrong person to ask because I haven't really done much with it.
Yeah.
And
what you're seeing.
Yeah.
In the music.
I've used it a tiny bit as part of that process of like creating the ideas bank, and I can see where it's been. It's made suggestions because a lot of what I'm doing is like, okay, I'm gathering all the possibilities together for what I might want to put in this song, and I might want to consider. And so it's, it can speed up the process, or it might, for the most part, I noticed that it kind of gave me things that I had pretty much thought of.
Yeah,
or
it
that
kind
it
of
sped
gives you
up
the
that
middle of the road,
process.
what
Yeah.
everyone would suggest kind of deal, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but uh, the things that I think make my songs really kind of resonate with is finding these finding unusual things like even like that line, "Hold yourself lightly." That's not a line. I have another one I wrote with a woman she's a leadership coach, but she does equestrian partnered retreats, so with
Oh,
horses
wow.
and stuff.
Okay.
And one of the lines in her song is "Gather around and gather it in," and it's there because her song's name is Gus or something, and we wanted this. I forget it had to do with that, but there's just things that I don't think AI is going to come up with. It wouldn't make sense, but these are the things where they kind of go beyond the cliches, or take the cliches and bring them to another level. So, there's probably threats. I should probably be worried, but I'm having way too much fun, and I got my hands full with doing what I'm doing. So.
Oh, yeah. Far be it from me to tell you not to have fun.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I guess that won't happen. Yeah.
That won't happen. No.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're just doing what you're doing. And honestly, from listening to the songs that you have on your website, what I really liked about it was the unexpected chord changes. So for me, the music was really unexpected in places. Yeah. And again, I don't think AI is going to do that, because it always goes to the middle of the road, most bland thing that everyone, it's kind of the, I don't know, like the America's Got Talent of, because like it's the thing people vote on that is just the middle of the road everything, and you can't satisfy everybody, and so the outliers don't get anything.
Yes.
What ends up.
And it's interesting that you say that, because when you're back to what we were talking about a second ago with why people don't have their own song brand, or why they don't do that, because all of my clients are early adopters. It takes courage, right? Even back in the days when I was doing, I called it the theme shop, where we would come in and write a song for the organization as a team building thing. And I can't tell you the number of times I talked to a CEO and they're like, "Oh, this is such a great idea," and they'd phone me back an hour later and say, "Oh, the team won't do it. They don't." And it's like, well, who's in charge? And what's the point? The point is for them to feel discomfort, for them to try something they've never tried together, and see how that will bring them together, and find out, what the common ground is. I mean, that's the whole point. So, so my clients, that's why I guess maybe I love my clients so much, because they're always, they're people that they're not stopping because they happen to be the only speaker that has their own song.
Well, they're unique in
exactly.
the fact that they are willing to take a chance on this, but not only that, they're willing to use it.
Exactly.
Like if a big CEO is telling you, well, no, our board has said no, well, then you don't want to work with them, honestly, because they're not going to use it even if you produce it.
Yeah.
You're fighting an uphill battle there. Although I can't understand how that would be the case anymore. It just really doesn't make any sense to me, because there are so many demonstrated successes when it comes to audio branding and sonic branding and using sound in your advertising and marketing and branding.
Yeah.
I can't see it not making a difference. And in fact, I just had someone on the podcast 2 days ago who actually had demonstrated actual research about our brains and how they operate on sound, and the how that affects us, and how it actually influences us to use one product or another, or use one service or another. It's enormous, the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. But people, to educate yourself about that, I think, it's a slow process. I gather in Europe it's much more easily and quickly embraced, and I think that's kind of what we're up against in terms of this.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that, well, I don't know. I guess I'm excited. It seems to me that part of what we have to do is to help people to use it. Like, that's why I added this strategy and implementation session. And I check in with my clients, just after. I'll check in with them a year later and say, how's it going, and that kind of stuff. But when I come up with a new product, like the new musical business card,
Mm-hmm.
which, I texted you mine. And so that's something that when there's new offerings and new ways to do it, I'm going to tell them, because I want this song I want it to have a lifespan of 20 years, or, I want it something that they're going to be so glad, like, this will be the best money I ever spent, right?
Yeah.
That's how I see this.
Definitely. Yeah, I can totally get behind that. I think it's an
Yeah.
excellent idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little philosophical with you here, and I'm going to ask you why you think sound matters. It's a big question, I know. But
Well,
I'm curious.
think, I just think it connects us to ourselves in a way, and to each other in a way that, wasn't it was Quincy Jones or somebody that was just talking about how it was the greatest
Yeah.
art?
He just passed away. I was
Yeah.
so sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. That
Well,
was, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
look at all of the different music that guy did. From
Yeah.
playing with, all those early jazz guys to
Mm-hmm.
like producing Michael Jackson's big album and everything he's done. And, it's all music, it's all music, and it's all sound. And yeah, it's just, sound can, it's just can calm you so deeply. It can it can lift you, and there's just nothing else. Your whole body vibrates, right? So it's a very powerful art form.
Oh, yeah. It's universal, too. It's
Yeah.
something that every human
Yes.
being understands.
Yeah.
Deep in their bones, I think. It's one
Yeah.
of those, it's a connecting influence that we
Yeah.
all understand.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what language you speak.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's important. I totally get that. And that's why I love to talk about it here. We're coming to the end here, but I wanted to ask you what you're working on now that you can talk about.
Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm recording my new album.
Okay.
So I've got some client songs on the go, so that's super fun.
Yeah.
And so we wrote one yesterday, and it's going to go into production hopefully after we do our. So I have those ones, but yeah, what I'm really excited is I have so many new songs of my own, and I've been bringing guys into the studio and trying out different instruments. I just worked with a guy that played way back on my first couple albums way back in like the 80s. I just hired him to play pedal steel on a song. And it's like, I
nice.
didn't know this pedal steel was going to work,
Okay.
But he's on it. And then a guy that I wrote the song with, who's a piano player down in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was down there, he plays every Thursday night at the Spotted Cat on Frenchman Street. And we ended up kind of connecting, and we wrote this song together. And so he ended up playing the piano part. So I love, that I can bring in, and then guys down the street, percussionist. And so it's really fun to be producing my own songs and getting back to that as well. Yeah,
Wonderful.
just lots of music. That's all I live for.
That's great. It's a wonderful way to live. Does your
Yes.
album have a theme in particular?
The songs are kind of all over the place.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a thread that runs through I have a very distinct style, like you say, I like those surprising changes, and I seem to write everything in 12/8 time. I can't help it.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but thematically, I write a lot of love songs and heart songs. I like writing inspiring songs. There's a cool video called "Born for This" that we shot the video in Costa Rica in February, and I love that song.
I did see that one, and it's really good. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
fly will ride the wind from Canada to Mexico, lifted by the currents in the air. On tiny wings she'll find the twig of her own metamorphosis, with nothing but the sky to guide her there. When you're born for this, born to go the distance, nothing is impossible. Impossible is nothing. When you're born for this, nothing is impossible. Impossible is nothing at all.
I'm going to Sri Lanka for 3 months in January, so be interesting to see if I can shoot some video there too. And I take my studio set up, and I can record from there.
Well, I look forward to hearing about more of what you're going to be up to, Lowry. This has been absolutely fantastic, and congratulations on the upcoming album.
Yeah.
And all of your SongBrand work. I think it's fantastic and a very interesting way to use songs to help people be more themselves, which I love.
Yeah.
And how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to do that?
Well, Lowry at songbrand.ca is a way to do it. Or if you want to check out my music, 𝐿owryOlafson.com. And probably there'll be some place, you just spell my name, 𝐿owryOlafson.com. People can reach out, and I'm happy to do, a free kind of audio branding assessment if they want to talk about the stuff that they've got, or if they have ideas and that kind of thing. So, yeah. So thank you for having me, Jodi. It's really wonderful that you're spreading the word about the power of this medium, and you do it all so well and so beautifully.
Thank you so much.
It's really an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you heard, why not tell a friend about this podcast? It's available in all the usual locations. Until next time.